Coming up next, new video that police believe is connected to the vandalism of a Martin Luther King mural in State College, as the reward in the case triples.
And why some Pennsylvanians are hesitant about the COVID-19 vaccine, while others have access issues.
And especially in rural areas, I mean, even where I live, we don't have access to a lot of computers and internet capabilities.
Plus, a local high school student's project to help those who don't have enough to eat. The Center County Report starts now. Good afternoon, I'm Sebastian Kraft.
And I'm Natalie Grant. Thanks for joining us for the Center County Report. We begin with the aftermath of the Derek Chauvin verdict and new numbers on the use of force by police in our area. 3 days after Chauvin's murder conviction for killing George Floyd in Minneapolis, Congress is ready to try again to change the nation's policing laws. One senator says negotiations could wrap up within 2 weeks. A House bill would ban chokeholds and create a national database of police misconduct. It would also allow officers to be sued and damages awarded for violating someone's rights.
The State College Police Department has released its annual use of force report for 2020. The document says borough police had more than 17,000 calls for service and made 1,075 arrests. Police used non-lethal force against 34 people. 29 were white, 4 African American, and 1 Asian. There was no deadly use of force last year. The shooting death of Osaze Osagi happened in 2019.
State College police are still trying to identify the suspects who defaced the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. mural last Friday. Police say the 3 people here on your screen at the Fraser Street parking garage are persons of interest. Cops say they're suspected of using a red substance to deface the image, and it's under investigation as a hate crime, which under state law is considered ethnic intimidation. The reward is now up to $3,000 for information that leads to an arrest or conviction. If you have any information, contact State College Police.
A new COVID vaccine clinic is open today and tomorrow at Penn State's Pagula Ice Arena. The clinic is a partnership between the university and Walmart to offer vaccinations to students, employees, and their dependents. It's open today until 4 p.m. and tomorrow from 8:30 until 4. The clinic has a total of 1,100 Pfizer shots. Meanwhile, Pennsylvania plans to expand its network of vaccine providers. Officials say that with supply finally catching up with demand, they expect more providers will start receiving shipments over the next few weeks. Pennsylvania only ranks 23rd of the 50 states when it comes to percentage of vaccines administered. And even as vaccines become easier to get, there are still reasons why some people are not yet getting them. Hannah Deek reports from Clinton County and State College.
As vaccine availability increases, getting more shots into more arms has been a challenge in parts of Pennsylvania. Some people are still hesitant to get their shot, while others don't have as much access. Jeff Package owns Keller and Monroe Pharmacy in Clinton County and says big distribution sites like hospitals and major drugstore chains play a role in his county's lower vaccine rates.
We order vaccine every week. We do their surveys. We do everything that they ask us to do. And they still, they have not sent us vaccine for this week.
That's one of the issues the state hopes to fix with its provider expansion in the coming weeks. Center Volunteers in Medicine says setting up more smaller, local sites like this one at Mount Nittany Middle School and State College can help.
It really does make a difference coming to a comfortable area like a school that they're familiar with in their environment, in their neighborhoods, versus going to a white coat, sterile environment. That increases the anxiety and it makes you more nervous and more hesitant.
I think that access to a clinic such as this, yes, helps people get the product that they need and the immunization in their arm.
In previous months, regional vaccination clinics like this one at Bryce Jordan Center was expected to be in Clinton County, but the state's decision to move it to Center County could be a contributing factor to why rural counties have such low vaccination rates. The difference is significant statewide. In Center County, more than 40% of residents have received at least one dose, but in Clinton County, it's only at 30%.
And especially in rural areas, I mean, even where I live, we don't have access to a lot of computers and internet capabilities, and maybe not just access, but it could be skill level, there could be their experience. So
We always had our phone available here at the pharmacy. So most, if not all of our appointments came from just people picking up their phone and calling us.
Some rural county officials also believe hesitancy stems from the pandemic not hitting close enough to home for many people.
Rural America and rural Pennsylvania in particular have not been witness to the horrible and deadly effects of COVID like some of our more urban counterparts have been. I think that the mindset and the education is lacking in rural Pennsylvania.
In University Park, I'm Hannah Deek for the Center County Report.
So far, more than 45,000 people in Center County are fully vaccinated. In Clinton County, it's 7,600.
2 major road construction projects are in the works in the State College area. The state has approved more than $1 million to fund a road project on the west side of Tofttrees that will support the development of hundreds of acres of land. The project will expand the intersection at North Atherton and Woody Crest Streets for the Patton Crossing development. And PennDOT says the next phase of the Atherton Street project is set to begin next spring. Work will begin from Curtin Road to Westerly Parkway. And another project is in its final stages. Gamble Mill in Bellefonte is expected to reopen in June. It's been closed for about 6 years, but 2 brothers plan to open a restaurant, hotel rooms, and event space in the renovated mill. The original mill dates back to the 1700s. A fire destroyed much of it in the 1800s, and it was rebuilt in 1893. The owners have been working with local architects, engineers, and contractors to renovate the building and bring it back to life.
$2 trillion in projects nationwide are part of President Biden's proposed infrastructure plan that's now in front of Congress. Ria Jha reports.
It's bold, yes, and we can get it done.
President Biden's infrastructure plan calls for $2 trillion in spending. To pay for it, he plans to raise the corporate tax to 28%.
They'll cost jobs even more, all under the name of infrastructure. Raising taxes is not infrastructure.
President Trump cut the rate from 35 to 21%.
Given that large cut didn't seem to have so much effect, restoring some of the tax doesn't seem that big a change.
When you think about the definition of infrastructure, you might think roads, highways, and construction. But President Biden is pushing the boundaries on that definition, and there's a lot of controversy surrounding that.
The bill includes racial justice and climate change initiatives, like investing in home caregivers who are mostly women of color and encouraging electric car sales. Those don't typically fit into the traditional definition of infrastructure.
Then what is it? That would be my question to Republicans.
Replacing all lead-based water pipes is also in the proposal.
Right, let's think about some of these places where there are Black people who can't even drink out of their faucet. If that isn't systematic and environmental racism, I don't know what is.
Among the climate initiatives is a $16 billion program to help fossil fuel workers transition to more energy-efficient jobs.
The skill set that many people have that work in coal-fired natural power plant can be applied to helping our grid infrastructure.
Congressman Fred Keller doesn't think that's the government's role.
And where are we in America to tell you what kind of job you have to have? Or what you have to, that's not the United States of America.
Williams urges people to look at this plan with a different lens.
I think sometimes people need to come outside their suits and their jackets and come outside their political party and actually understand the real American.
For the Center County Report, I'm Ria Jha.
As the municipal primary election approaches next month, reporter Jake Starr talks with the 2 candidates vying to become the next mayor of State College.
Ezra Naines and Jim Leas are gearing up their campaigns with the primary just weeks away. Both are working to be the next mayor of State College. Naines has inclusion and diversity at the forefront of his campaign and says he'll always keep his ears open to those he represents.
The most important thing a mayor can do is to listen to the community, understand what really matters to people, and then, of course, be the voice for that community.
Leas is widely known in the community and is finishing up his 3rd term on the State College School Board. He echoes a similar theme of hearing ideas and feedback.
I think the biggest lesson I've learned is how to listen, that we need to listen to the community.
Current Mayor Ron Filippelli pledged not to seek election this year and is instead running for Borough Council. On May 18th, State College residents will head to the polls like this one behind me, and they'll place their votes for who they feel should be the next mayor of State College. Greg Stewart is the chair of the Center County Democrats. He says they won't endorse a candidate in this election, and they're expecting a larger turnout than usual. Stewart knows the winner will have a tough task on their hands.
I think, kind of healing some of those wounds and being inclusive is going to be very important for whichever one is elected.
Naines and Lee has told me why they should be elected.
I think I tout my experience. So I'm in the end of my third term on the State College School Board.
Is that we need to create a place that is welcoming and inclusive for everybody. I bring what we need for the role of the mayor to this job.
And when asked for one word that would be each's mission, Naines said empowerment, and Leas offered inclusiveness. In State College, I'm Jake Starr for the Center County Report.
Again, State College's primary election day is set for May 18th.
Will it warm up this weekend? The 7-day forecast with Olivia is coming up. Plus, how a high school student is trying to help solve food insecurity in our area. And remembering a pandemic year with a special exhibit in Bellefonte. That's later in our newscast.
The year-long pandemic has led more people locally and nationally to struggle with food insecurity. Reporter Jordan Lewis talked with two people in our area who are trying to offer solutions for hunger.
Last spring, as COVID spread and lockdowns began, the Center County YMCA started the Travelin' Table as a way to safely distribute food to people during the pandemic. In the first 5 months, the initiative supplied over 339,000 meals to residents. Mel Curtis, the YMCA's anti-hunger program director, says the services have made a positive difference.
We have now surpassed 1 million tons of food that we put back into the communities throughout Center County. We do a tremendous amount of food distributions, home deliveries, and things like that to help people that are facing food insecurity.
In a partnership with the Travelin' Table, State College high school student Madeline Krentzman started a project of her own to join the fight against food insecurity. Called the Bake with Love Project, she curated a cookbook filled with recipes from professional and amateur bakers, each tied to a story from different global backgrounds. She said witnessing firsthand local food need motivated her to search for a solution.
When I was driving just down Westerly Parkway and they were doing a meal drop-off, and it was so astonishing for me to see just how many cars were wrapped around throughout the parking lot just waiting to receive food for the week. And so that was just one more inspiration for me.
As the pandemic continues to challenge central Pennsylvanians with food insecurity, local residents can know individuals like Mel and Madeline are pushing to reduce hunger. Reporting in State College, I'm Jordan Lewis for the Center County Report.
The cookbook is available for purchase online at bakewithlove.org, and all proceeds will be donated to the YMCA of Center County's anti-hunger program. Now Olivia with the weather.
Thanks, Natalie. I'm student meteorologist Olivia Lawrence, and to start with the weather, we have some warm temperatures returning into State College, bright sunshine in our area, some strong wind gusts that will be bringing those warm temperatures in, and unfortunately, I do have to mention that we will be having some rain coming into our area for the weekend. So now taking a live shot, we have Beaver Stadium. We have some clear skies, obviously very sunny today as it will warm up later in the day. Our current conditions, we have feels like 52 with a dew point of about 25, which is actually pretty low for this time of year. And the winds, like I said earlier, are coming from the west-southwest, moving in at about 13 miles an hour. So now taking a look at a map of the center of Pennsylvania, we have feels like temperatures with State College around 52, Johnstown coming in at a low of 43, and moving into our actual temperatures, we have again State College at 52 with Johnstown still at that low and Harrisburg at our high of 56. Moving into the rest of Pennsylvania, we see Philadelphia at 55, which would be our high, Erie at 53, State College again at 52, and Johnstown and Bradford tied for our low again at 49. Moving into our satellite and radar, we do see some clouds moving out of our area just to the northeast. of Pennsylvania, and we do see some low precipitation levels in Tennessee, but that won't get to us until later in the week. For the futurecast, we see some precipitation, like I said, moving in this weekend, and moving into the next part of the week, we do see low precipitation coming in around Thursday and Friday. But with that said, our forecast for today is 62, clear and sunny. Tonight we will see clouds moving into our area with a low of 37 degrees. And then moving into tomorrow, we see a high of 63 with a chance of rain after 2 p.m. at 60%. And our 7-day forecast, like I said, we see a high of 77 on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday with 80 and sunny temperatures. So with all that said, I'm going to send it over to Casey with sports.
Thanks, Olivia. It's great to hear about some warm weather coming our way next week. Next in sports, Penn State men's volleyball took on St. Francis last night in the EIVA semifinals. We'll have the results ahead. Also coming up, fans return to Beaver Stadium again tonight, but not everyone will have the same experience. That's all after the break in sports. I'm Casey Kummer with sports. Penn State football is wrapping up spring practice this weekend. The team took the field at Beaver Stadium with fans in the stands last Saturday for the first time since 2019. During practice, freshman Penn State students and players' families were able to check out the Nittany Lions' new offense. Coach James Franklin and new offensive coordinator Mike Yursich talked about what they wanted to see in the final practices this week.
I think the thing I've always felt is, the run game is something that you'd like to leave the spring feeling good about, because it's hard to make improvements in that before you get back to training camp. But the passing game, there's a lot of things you can work on your own, the rest of the spring and the summer. So
ball security is the most important thing that we've stressed, and we didn't do a very good job of that today. And so that's going to continue to be pounded always. If we play smart on offense and we don't turn it over, we give ourselves a chance. If you turn it over, you have no chance, and we have to take care of the doggone football.
As the team takes the field tonight, some Penn State students will again have a chance to watch practice. But it's been a crazy week for fans trying to figure out who's allowed inside and why.
I was so pissed. Because it seemed like they just didn't even care about the seniors at this point.
Penn State seniors and freshmen had very different experiences last weekend for what's normally Penn State football's blue-white game.
Definitely, it's a life-changing experience and something that I'll never forget.
While Saturday, this area was filled with thousands of Penn State freshmen eager to go through the student gates for the first time ever. Seniors were forced to live out their last blue-white memory far from any excitement. Even though current state COVID restrictions allow up to 50% capacity for outdoor events, only about 7,000 people attended. Penn State only allowed freshman students, players' families, and a few others. The decision sparked criticism. Many seniors graduating in May felt left out.
We were all pissed because we just spent 4 years at a university that we loved. We loved all the football games. And then it just felt like our senior year was taken away from us, especially for football games.
Even freshmen felt a sense of guilt.
The seniors are going through it right now, but obviously I would have given up my spot for any senior to take my spot at the blue and white game.
Then the university announced a plan for seniors to attend their own special practice this week, but many students say they never saw the email or ended up in their junk mail, and they missed the Wednesday deadline to get tickets. So Penn State then opened it up to the public on a first-come, first-served basis, and those tickets went fast.
It was almost like having two kids and giving one kid all this candy and then giving the other kid oh yeah, no, you can have this Jolly Rancher. Okay, but we wanted that.
Despite the confusion, some students will get a chance to see the team and sing the alma mater one more time tonight. That practice is 7 till 9 tonight at Beaver Stadium. The Penn State men's volleyball team is hosting its first EIVA tournament in 4 years this weekend. Last night, the Nittany Lions won in straight sets over St. Francis in the second semifinal match of the day at Rec Hall. Penn State is tying for its first EIVA tournament title since 2017. They'll play George Mason Sunday in the championship match. The winner gets an automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. Both Penn State soccer teams are heading to the NCAA tournament. The women will play Alabama State next Wednesday in the first round in North Carolina. The Lions are regular season Big Ten champs. The men's team will open play in the second round against UMass on May 2nd, also in North Carolina. Penn State baseball is looking to snap a 4-game losing streak this weekend. The Lions fell against Nebraska last week, swept in the 3-game series. Penn State begins a series against Ohio State tonight in Columbus. They'll play another game tomorrow before finishing on Sunday. The Nittany Lions are 8-16 on the season. Penn State hockey held its season wrap-up news conference this week. Coach Guy Godowski said he was happy they could play it all during the COVID season. The team ended with a 10-12 record. Next season will include the return of Adam Pilowitz and Clayton Phillips, but the coach is most looking forward to fans back at Pagula.
They're motivating, and that's going to be fun. And they just bring the energy. They bring, you can feel it. The roar zone gets going, you can feel it. It's not something you just see or hear, you feel it. And I can't wait to get that feeling again.
That's all for sports. Now back to you at the anchor desk.
Thanks, Casey. Can't wait to see how they do on the ice. Coming up next, we'll take a trip to the Bellefonte Art Museum's newest in-person exhibit and see how it relates to our daily lives over the past year. A new art exhibit in downtown Bellefonte commemorates the past year of unique COVID-19 experiences our community has undergone. Citizen photographers contributed to a new gallery showcasing struggles, laughs, and everything in between. The Bellefonte Art Museum is welcoming visitors once again in a modified format and with new attractions. The museum's new C19 exhibit looks at the effects of COVID-19 on our community since the pandemic began last year. Where the photos are concerned, museum leadership says the contrast between light and dark is intentional, juxtaposing tragedy with broader unity.
We realized how much we were missing togetherness. And I was hoping that it would kind of help us all heal a little bit.
The museum is reopening on weekends with in-person visits Fridays through Sundays. Private tours are also available during the week. For Deputy Director Lori Fisher, a space for community reflection was always a priority.
You know, a lot of people will say, you know, as they're walking through the exhibit that they look at one and they're touched in a certain way, and then they move on and they see another one and it makes them laugh a little bit.
The C19 exhibit here in the Bellefonte Arts Museum in downtown Bellefonte continues to draw a significant response from local residents, both online and in person. The museum made a point of hanging certain photos from the ceiling to create a more immersive viewer experience. The feedback has been positive so far.
We've got loads of emails thanking us and Facebook, thanking us for doing the show.
In-person visits of the exhibit will run through May 30th. Private tours will continue in the coming weeks as the Art Museum maintains its hybrid platform. The C19 exhibit will also remain online until June 29th.
That's all for today's newscast. You can find more of our stories on our website, centercountyreport.com. And you can follow us anytime for breaking news on our Twitter feed. That's at Center County REP, or on our Facebook page. We also have a CCR Instagram. Join us for our next newscast next Friday. Have a good weekend.
We hope you enjoyed watching the video. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you did.
For the rest of our newscasts and featured stories, click here.
And for sports, click here. Have a great day, and thanks for watching.